Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday night. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the video and the algorithm. And also subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel here. Would love to have you as a subscriber. That would be great. Thank you to the mods for being here tonight. We have Mel Mac, Monty, Sirius Black, and Mo Nana. They are all in the house. I couldn't do these lives without them. We have memberships. So if you'd like to become a member, please go ahead and become a member. We have some cool emojis and things like that. And you get a special shout out from me. Sorry I wasn't on here last weekend. It was a holiday weekend. I didn't want to bug the mods and have them come out on a holiday weekend to do a live. I kept going back and forth. I'm like, do I do something? Do I not? I don't know if I should do it. But I'm back this weekend. Here I am. And there's a lot to talk about. I kind of had a hard time determining what I should talk about tonight because there were a handful of things that I thought we should discuss. But I picked three. Really, we're only going to touch on Bryan Kohberger, I think, at the end, because there's really not a whole lot new with him. Other than he's being a little bit of what they call a Karen, I guess, in the prison. Imagine that. He's being a handful. He's being a pain. So I thought that maybe we should talk about the Luigi Mangione hearing. And we are supposed to be having somebody join us tonight who was in the courtroom this week. He is, of course, the guy who is accused of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, and accused of doing that in cold blood on the streets of New York City just 1 year ago on December 4th of last year. But our guest who's going to join me to talk about that will be here around 7:30 Eastern or so. But I wanted to talk about the very latest in the Anna Kepner case first. So let's talk about Anna Kepner first. She, of course, is the 18-year-old girl who was on the cruise with her father. She was on the cruise with her stepmother and step siblings, and back in November, and she was murdered, mechanically asphyxiated. They believe, held down and possibly with an arm, basically suffocated to death. And then her body was pushed underneath the bunks of the bunk beds of the Carnival Cruise Line cabin, and then hidden with life vests and stuff like that. There's been a lot going on with this case because her teenage stepbrother, is the only suspect in this case. Anna's stepmother said this basically during a hearing yesterday. And I'm going to play that hearing so you can see it for yourself. We'll speed it up so we're not sitting here all night watching this, but you'll hear her testify about a number of things regarding, what was going on this cruise, the medication that her two sons were taking, because Anna was staying in a cabin with two of her stepbrothers. And so these are step siblings of hers. I personally don't think they should have been in the same cabin together unattended, but after listening to Mom, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can see how it wasn't a big deal in her eyes or anybody's eyes, but still, we're talking step siblings. We're not talking biological siblings. So I'm kind of like, when you get to a certain age, I'm just not so sure you should be staying in the same room together. So I'm going to play a little bit of this hearing because this was a custody hearing. The ex-husband of Anna Kepner's stepmother, Chantal, is not happy about the situation. And so she had to go in and testify and answer questions in front of a judge about certain things. So I am going to play this hearing so you can listen to this and make your own minds up for yourselves. She says she confirms in this testimony that her teenage son, is the only suspect in this case. So he will likely, it sounds like, be charged very soon in Anna's murder. But I'm going to play this hearing just so you can make up your minds. There's some discussion about medication that the children were being administered, things of that nature, and whether or not she was in charge of it, that type of thing. Also, everybody, as usual, please let me know where you're watching from. City, state, country. Love that. I love seeing where you guys are watching from. Also, if you're watching on replay, thank you so much. But let's start this hearing so we can all listen to what stepmom has to say. Oh, I have to remove this photo before doing that. Sorry. Here we go. Let's listen to what Chantal Kepner is going to say here about the situation on the cruise ship. She's asked a number of questions. As I said, we will speed it up. And I'll stop it every now and then to kind of chime in with my thoughts on what was going on here.
Please state your name, ma'am.
Chantal Kepner.
And do you know Thomas Hudson?
Yes.
And how do you know Mr. Hudson?
We were formerly married.
And how long were you married?
About 12 years.
And do you have any children between the two of you?
We have 3 children.
What are their names and ages?
And obviously, because the children are minors, this is a custody hearing, like a family court hearing. We had to drop the audio on that. We can't air that information. So, it's just kind of an ethical, legal thing.
And there recently was did you recently go on a cruise?
Yes.
And did any of the children go with you on the cruise? Did you reach out to Mr. Hudson to request that he agree to passports for the children?
I reached out to him to inform him of my itinerary to take the children on a cruise and did ask for the passports, but they weren't needed in this cruise.
And Mr. Hudson actually refused to cooperate with obtaining passports, correct?
To sign for the passports, yes.
You said passports weren't necessary, so they weren't obtained?
Correct.
As far as the minor children, what were the sleeping arrangements on this cruise?
Was in my room with my husband and his 9-year-old daughter, and then shared a room with his stepsister and stepbrother. Well, the room was directly across from ours.
What was the stepsister's name?
Anna Kepner.
And what was the stepbrother's name? And how old is?
14.
And how old was Anna?
18.
Now, who made the decision to have these 3 teenagers in one room in the cruise?
We had talked it over with our travel agent, and that was what was suggested.
Did you have to sign any special permission for
No.
the children to reside together? So was it a mutual decision between yourself and your husband?
Correct.
And at some point, did you discover that one of the children had passed away?
Yes.
And when was that you discovered that?
Friday morning.
When was the last time that you'd seen the child before that Friday morning?
Thursday night.
You know approximately what time?
Right around 6:30.
So she's saying that they made this decision to allow the 3 teenagers, the stepbrother, Anna, and then the other sibling, 2 teenage boys and Anna. They made the decision to allow them to stay in this other cabin together. She's saying the last time she saw the kids was at 6:30 p.m. the Thursday evening before they found out that Anna was dead, which would have been Friday morning.
And your child, did you see him that Thursday night as well?
Yes.
What time did you see him at?
Closer to 7. Just a little bit before 7.
What was he doing at that time?
He was headed back to his room.
Do you know whether or not present in the room as well?
They all were head back to their room, as far as I know.
So where was their room in relation to your room?
Right across the hall. You walked out my door, their door was right in front of it.
Did you return to your room that evening?
Yes,
What time did you return to your room?
7 o'clock.
7 p.m.?
No, yeah, right. It was actually closer to 7:30.
Did you stay in the room for the rest of the night?
Yes,
With the teenagers across the hall, did you ever go in and check on them?
no, I had went to sleep.
Do you know if Christopher went across the hall to check on them?
Not that I know of.
Do you know if he left the room that night on that Thursday night?
I never seen him leave the room.
As far as goes, have you made arrangements to reside with a relative?
Correct.
And why did you do that?
It was something that his father and I mutually decided.
Did you suggest it to him or did he suggest it to you? Who brought it up first?
It was something that we had talked about because neither one of us could bring him back to our home.
Why couldn't you bring back to your home?
Looking out for the safety of the other children in the home.
Now, when you talk about the home, you have a home with Christopher, your husband?
Yes,
And does Christopher have other children that come to that home?
he has 2 other kids.
And one of them being,
Correct.
and the younger child that slept in the room with you as well?
Yes,
Still allowed to come to the home?
yes.
How many bedrooms is the home that you're in?
We have a 3-bedroom house with an addition room downstairs.
So what are the sleeping arrangements when all the kids were there prior to this cruise?
The 2 youngest girls shared a room, the 2 boys shared a room, and Anna had her own room.
As far as the evening, that Thursday evening on the cruise, had you been drinking at all?
No,
Had you drank it all during the cruise?
I had 2 pina coladas and a blue Hawaiian earlier in the week, but it wasn't on the same day. It was like 1 a day.
Do you know if the children, based on being in international waters, could I drink alcohol?
No,
You don't know?
no, they didn't. They're not old enough.
What about Anna?
I don't know.
Mel, I think you bring up an interesting point. Mel Mack says this lady goes to sleep too early to have older teenagers wandering about on a cruise, in my opinion. Yeah, I thought that was interesting that she's talking about how, and obviously I don't know anything about their sleeping habits. I don't know if she's the type of person who's used to, there are a lot of people who are super early risers who get up at like 4 a.m. and that's when they, that this is how they roll. They go to sleep or whatever. Who knows? Maybe they're going back to their room after dinner and watching a movie. I don't know. But when you've got teenagers or you have kids, like I always make sure that, I always make sure my son's asleep before I go to sleep at night. I mean, he's younger, he's only 10, but still, I never go to sleep before I know he's asleep. And so I know when you have teenagers, it's different. Anna was 18, technically an adult, but she had just graduated from high school, or had just been out of high school. So I think you got to be careful. Also, I really want to know more information about whether or not the parents, or at least, Anna's father and this woman, Chantel, did they know about these suspicions that the stepbrother had a thing for Anna? like the ex-boyfriend says. Like, were they privy to that? Did they know that? Were they aware of that? So I'd really like to know that information. So let's listen to a little bit more of this.
Weren't you aware that the children were gambling at some point?
Well, Anna's 18, so I know she was in there at one point in time, but the other kids were not.
You're sure that the other kids were not gambling?
I'm sure the other kids were not gambling.
As far as does he have any diagnoses?
He has ADHD.
And how long has he been diagnosed with ADHD?
About 3 or 4 years.
Those after your separation from Mr. Hudson, correct?
About that timeline, yes.
And does he receive medication for his ADHD?
He does.
And what medication was he on for his ADHD?
Methylphenidate.
Could you pronounce that for me and spell it, if you know?
Methylphenidate, I don't know the spelling.
Okay.
The name brand's Concerta. That
Okay.
helps.
Thank you.
And how often would you take that medication?
Every morning.
And I'll just tell you, like, that's for ADHD, right? And there are different forms of ADHD. But I'm familiar with methylphenidate. Having that, not having that, taking that, that's not going to contribute to you killing somebody.
And did he take the medication on the cruise with him?
Yes. He also takes a nighttime pill as well.
The same medication?
No, it's clonidine.
What is that for?
Insomnia.
Did you hold on to the medications?
Yes.
Did you make sure he took his medications every day?
He took his morning pill every day, and he missed 2 doses of his clonidine at night.
You held on to the clonidine as well?
Mhm.
That's yes?
Yes, sorry.
And what do you mean he missed the dosage? What happened there,
He went to bed before he got it. He was already asleep.
including that Thursday night?
No, Thursday night he didn't get it. I fell asleep before he did.
So just to make sure I understand, ma'am, while on the cruise, he missed taking that nighttime medication twice. One of the nights was because he fell asleep prior to taking the medication, and the other night was the night before
Correct. I fell asleep before
he fell asleep. So he did not get the medication the night.
Yeah, he didn't come
before
out
the
for it.
incident. All right, thank you.
And was attending school prior to the cruise?
Yes.
And after the cruise, did she have to be removed from school?
They placed her on homeschool. They just unenrolled her this past Monday.
And why is that?
That was their choice to unenroll her.
Say their choice. Who are you talking about?
The school's choice. It had nothing to do with her behavior or anything. It had to do with the media.
She's currently on a homeschool status indefinitely.
No, she's being enrolled into another school.
Did you discuss that with Mr. Hudson?
I let him know that he had asked me to let him know when she was enrolled, and I told him I would. But I just found out this week that she was unenrolled from the school.
As far as going to be allowed to come back to your home at any point?
At this time, no. Not with the FBI investigation.
Whether or not your husband will allow him to return to the home even if the investigation is concluded?
As of right now, he's not coming back to the home.
And, no further questions from the other.
Thanks, sir. Cross.
Morning.
Morning.
Ms. Kepner, who all went on the cruise with you?
Myself, my husband, Anna, the 2 youngest girls, and then my mother-in-law and father-in-law,
What are their names?
Jeff and Barbara Kepner.
And where was their room in relationship to where your room and the children's room was?
2 floors above us.
Did they also help in the supervision of the children?
Yes, ma'am.
Anna, who we know passed away, she was 18, correct?
Correct.
And she was an adult.
Correct.
And was she given the option of staying in another room?
All three of the kids were
And would that room have been with grandma and grandpa?
correct.
And they didn't want to do that?
No, they wanted to stay together.
Did they all get along?
Yeah, they're the three of them are like the three amigos. They're best friends.
See, I need more information about this because she's saying they're like three amigos, you know, they're like best friends. They wanted to stay in the room together, but that doesn't jibe with what we're hearing from, you know, the ex-boyfriend who's saying Anna was uncomfortable. She had felt weirded out by this kid, etc. So we need more information, I think. I mean, we need to know whether Chantel and Anna's father were ever made aware, as the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend claims, that Anna was weirded out by this kid, or if this is just gossip and talk.
And with regard to the question about him, he's not a suspect, or you haven't been advised by anyone?
Correct. He's not a suspect.
As far as you know, is the only suspect in the death of Anna, your son?
Correct.
And with regard to the schooling, this was the movement of the children from one school to another wasn't because you just decided to randomly remove the children, correct?
Correct. The school decided to unenroll all of the children at the school.
When you say all of the children, who
We had 4 total, including Anna, go to that school. They unenrolled the other 3 kids.
all right. Because of and you were told because of the media coverage?
Yes.
And did they give you the recommendations at the school that you have enrolled them in?
Yes.
And that this new school is aware of the situation?
Correct.
And there's been no problems with Anna at the school, or sorry, at the school since this incident, correct?
Correct.
She's a good student.
Yeah. Straight A's.
So this is like another daughter.
I don't believe I have any further questions at this time.
Can you redirect?
Mentioned her being a good student. Is she also diagnosed ADHD?
No.
Is she on any medications?
Yes, she takes a migraine medicine daily.
And are you the one that administers that medication?
Yes.
How long has she been on that medication?
She's been on that medication for 2 years now.
No further question.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you may say thank you.
So I'm not hearing anything in that made me think like, oh my God, this woman is so irresponsible. She's, you know, like she's claiming she drank on the cruise, but it was earlier in the cruise. At least what her testimony is here, it's not like she was sauced and that's why she was in bed at 6:30, not watching the kids. You know, you still have to keep an eye on teenagers. I don't care if they're 16, especially when you're out of town on a cruise. So I think there's still a lot we don't know, a lot. And then we've got that younger brother who was in the room as well. So you still got to keep an eye on those kids. We need information from Anna's dad. Like, what was he up to on the cruise as well? It's really sad. It's just a horrific case. But we are going to move on now because we have a really special guest joining us. This is somebody I met earlier this year. I'm going to bring him in a minute. We're going to move on to the Luigi Mangione case. Luigi Mangione back in court this week. He wasn't feeling well yesterday though, but look at him. He's making some eyes for the camera. Look at him. He's like, hey, look at me. He likes the media attention, guys. He does like it. He pays attention to it. And so he did he kind of wanted the headlines. He wrote about this in this one document in his journal found in his bag, allegedly, according to the prosecutors in this case. I read this whole omnibus motion thing earlier this year when we covered this at CrimeCon and did a presentation. But I really think Luigi likes the attention from all of this. And he makes a lot of interesting faces for the cameras. I think he's well aware of the fact that he's being photographed. And so his lawyers are trying to get all of the evidence in this case suppressed. They're saying, look, when the cops showed up to that McDonald's in Atoona, They get a 911 call. I'll play that 911 call here for you shortly. They get this 911 call in Altoona. The manager of the McDonald's is like, yeah, I got some customers here and they think the CEO shooter is here. And the 911 call taker is like, okay. And they send the cops over. They went through his backpack. They started looking through it and they thought he was acting funny and fidgety and stuff like that. And so they didn't have a warrant when they did that. Well, there are sometimes things called exigent circumstances where you don't have to have a warrant. It doesn't matter. His attorneys are trying to get all of the evidence tossed, saying that Luigi's rights were violated when they went through his backpack. And so none of that evidence in the backpack should be used against him. So I am going to bring in Mel Smith. He has a podcast and also a TikTok channel. I'll let him tell you more about it. It's called Watching the World. Mel,
Hello.
you were in court. Thanks so much for coming on. I'm going to take Luigi down for a second so I can put you up full screen. Mel, I first met Mel when he was covering the Sean Combs trial earlier this year. And now Mel is covering the Luigi stuff. So tell us first a little bit about why you decided to go down and cover Luigi.
Well, I pretty much cover all the big cases in New York, so that fell into the category.
All right. So in your TikTok channel, your YouTube channel, it's Watching the World.
Watching the World 777, yes.
Yep. And you can catch Mel there. So tell me if you would, Mel, when you went down to court this week, what did you see? I want you to take us down to court because I know that the ladies, like the Luigi fan club, they were down there. I saw pictures, like the women who really adore him and support him. They all showed up. They were camped out outside the courthouse, right?
Right. When I walked up, it's freezing cold, and I find that there's probably about 26 of the young girls out there and maybe 3 guys. And it's loaded with tents because most of them stayed overnight in the tents. And I was shocked because I didn't think that they could bear the cold. And then also you had a lot of individuals dressed up as Super Mario Brothers because that's the theme, because his name is Luigi. So you had a whole lot of things happening all at once. It was a lot of chaos. And then you had people protesting and some people agitated because they couldn't really get in line properly to get into the courthouse.
How many of the Luigi fangirls got into the courtroom?
I'd say about 22, and there's a cycle. So it's not just one group. They rotate because while we go into court one day, the next line is starting for the next day. So there's a cycle. When I came to court on Friday, I saw a group of them in the subway, probably about 13 or 14, but they couldn't get in that day. So they were getting the numbers ready for the next day.
And what do they do? Like, do you ever talk to them? Do you hear them say anything? I mean, what goes on with them? Because I saw a couple on social media, and Luigi's a good enough looking guy, but do you think that's like the attraction here? Because I really do feel, Mel, I feel if Luigi wasn't I feel like if he was not a good looking guy and didn't come from a family with wealth and of means, I'm not sure these women would be showing up at the courthouse.
Well, there's a big group of them that are writing him. He responds back to them, so they feel connected to him in a way. One of them that I had interviewed on my podcast or out on the street, she said that she's married to his AI. So he has an AI that they kind of communicate. They feel like they're actually talking to Luigi or his thought process. But a lot of them are there from nonprofit organizations such as POP New York City. And then there's a group of them in the mix that are dealing with the death penalty. They feel that is not right. So they're there for that cause as well. But a lot of them are just, I noticed on Friday, I was sitting in front of some of them, and they asked me to move because when Luigi walks into the courtroom, they want to see if they can get some eye contact with him.
Does he make eye contact with the ladies? Like, does he actually kind of like smile at them? And I mean, does it seem like he knows these people, like he has a relationship with them, or when he comes in, does he kind of just go straight to his lawyers and sit down?
He goes straight to his lawyers and he sits down. But unlike Sean Diddy Combs, he turns around during the proceedings.
Mm.
And I think he's just looking to see, what's going on.
So he's not making eye contact and kind of like, hey, ladies, or any of that type stuff with his fangirls.
I saw him communicating. I think maybe some of his family or someone is sitting behind him. I saw him turn around and ask a question about a card. That's just me reading his lips. Did you get my card? Something like that. As far as in the far back, I did see him looking to the far back, and the girls were going crazy. Some of them tried to rise up in their chairs so that they can just get a glimpse of the man. He's something like the Christ to these people.
Right. And that's what is so stunning to me. Like, I get that the healthcare issue is very polarizing. The insurance stuff, it's very all of us have had stuff like I had an MRI. I had to get an MRI in September. My insurance doesn't want to cover it. I am not happy about it. You know what I mean? We've all had these issues. So it's like, it's annoying as heck. But what Luigi is accused of doing is what he's accused of walking. And I'm not going to show the video because it's so, it's startling. I'm sure you saw it in court this week.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's horrific.
It's
I
worse.
don't even, I think my video would be like, I'd get in trouble I'd get the YouTube people coming after me. But I watched it like 3 times before I came on here. He literally very calmly, he walks up, he points that gun, and it's bad. Bryan Thompson is hit in the leg, and then he shoots him another time. I mean, he makes sure that he finishes the job. And there was another woman standing there. So it's pretty horrific. It's cold-blooded what he's accused of doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's terrifying when you see Bryan Thompson turn around, and you could see that before he's actually hit, he's walking almost like a man that's singing and happy. When he gets hit, you can see he's in pain when he turns around.
Yeah.
Then he goes down. It's a tough video.
It's very hard to watch. It's very hard to watch.
And I just want to say, I covered Sean Diddy Combs' trial. So, when that trial started, they showed the Cassie video about 9 times on the first day of the trial. I think this video is going to have a worse impact.
Yeah, I would think so, because this is a murder.
Yeah.
This is obviously the video of Cassie is very hard to watch too. I mean, she's being, brutally assaulted. But Bryan Thompson was executed within a matter of 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, he walks toward, a lot of people may not have seen the whole video because, the news is not going to show the whole video. It's just too graphic. But Bryan Thompson's hit in the leg first, and he goes down and he's kind of cowering or whatever. And the woman runs away. And then Luigi allegedly, I say allegedly because he's accused, he at this point has pleaded not guilty. What they said they found in his bag has him taking responsibility for this. But the person in the black outfit with the backpack walks up. I mean, Bryan Thompson probably could have survived the first shot, but walks up and, walks toward him, takes another shot and walks toward him and makes sure that the job is done, finishes him off. I mean, I hate saying it like that, but that's what he did. So take me, so the fangirls are there. Luigi's looking back a little bit. You're saying Luigi is in fact writing to these women?
Well, that's what they say. They say he communicates back. They say, yeah, if you write him, he'll write you back. So they have a connection with him.
So tell me, let's talk a little bit about, does Luigi offer any reaction at all? Like when that one, like there was the one corrections officer, Mel, who was talking about having some conversations with Luigi. I mean, Luigi was following the news about what happened, and it sounds like he and Luigi had some conversations about healthcare. So talk to me a little bit about the testimony of that corrections officer in Pennsylvania. First off, that corrections officer said he kept a pretty close eye on Luigi because his boss said, "Hey, we don't want an Epstein thing
Right.
going on here. So you need to keep an eye on this kid."
Right. So basically, that correctional officer, he, basically act like he really wasn't too like a fan of Luigi, like most of the police officers that arrested him, and also the girls that are also in the courtroom. But he talked about how Luigi mentioned he traveled. They had a extensive conversation about healthcare because that correctional officer was from Europe, where they have national health care, whereas in the United States, we have the privatized, what have you. So they got into a lot of dialogue in regards to that. Luigi wanted to know, what were they saying about me out there? And so the officer told him that on the news, they're speaking pretty much to the facts, I guess, of the case or what they believe. But on the internet, they're comparing him to the Unabomber, and Luigi wasn't happy about, being compared to Ted Lozinski and so forth. So they had some dialogue going back. But it seemed that Luigi was communicating well with him, but not the other correctional officer, which Mark Agnifilo, who was also Diddy's attorney, he wasn't too happy about the statements made by that second officer from the prison, correctional officer.
Let's go back. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Let's go back to the Ted Kaczynski stuff. So Luigi didn't like being compared to Ted Kaczynski. And
Yeah.
I find that amusing because I find that amusing because in this big document that the prosecution filed in support of their whole argument that first degree murder charge should stand, which obviously the first degree murder charge was dismissed earlier this year. The defense won that battle. Luigi, they filed this big, omnibus response or whatever. Luigi had apparently written, according to the prosecution, all this stuff about how, the Unabomber had some really good ideas. And he had read the Unabomber's manifesto and he actually commented on it on his Goodreads account. So this is all very amusing to me that he doesn't like being compared to the Unabomber, but I know why he doesn't. And it's because he made a point of writing that, the Unabomber had good ideas, but where he went wrong was that he attacked what he called normies, like regular people, like you and me, Mel. He went out and killed people. The Unabomber went out and killed people like you, me, maybe just somebody we don't know, just, your regular person on the street, to make his point. And he said, you got to go after like a bigger fish to make your point. And so he thought his ideas were good, but what made him a terrorist, in his view, was the fact that he went and killed normal people. And so that's where Luigi feels more like, no, I'm a crusader. So that's why he doesn't like he thinks the Unabomber was onto something with his ideas, but he doesn't like being compared to him because he thinks like because he targeted normies, as he called them, that made him a terrorist. And that's kind of where he screwed up. And so this makes to me what Luigi did, allegedly, he did because it makes him more like a figure who's doing something for the greater good. So I think that's why it upsets him so much to be compared to the Unabomber.
Yeah. In a weird way, he wants to be seen as like a saint
Yes.
As though he had
exactly.
a righteous cause for sinning. Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks he's righteous. Like what he did was right and for a cause. And he that thinking is so flawed and so narcissistic. Um and it's funny to me since he wrote about the Unabomber. And so now he's upset that he's being compared to him. What he doesn't realize is that what he did was essentially what the Unabomber did. He only allegedly did it once. So that's, I mean, he went out and he slaughtered a man. He executed, allegedly, this is what he's accused of doing, executing a man on the street, somebody who was well known. And he said he wanted the headlines, like in this document, this long document that the prosecution filed and cited his writings. They said that he wanted the headline, healthcare CEO whacked at investor conference. Like that's the headline that he wanted. So he was like thinking this out for a very long time.
Yeah. He had some sort of fantasy about this whole deal.
Yep. Let's talk a little bit about, talk to me now about that second corrections officer, a little more about what the second corrections officer had to say.
Well, the second one, he appeared to say that Luigi was talking to him more about incriminating things, such as he had a printed gun, right? He
Mhm.
also, because in his bag, he had some foreign currency. And also he's saying that Luigi is putting this together, saying that he's a foreign spy here from another country. But the unique thing about it is this particular correctional officer never mentioned this to his authorities there in the jail in Pennsylvania.
That's very interesting. So I'm sure Agnifilo or his wife, whichever one of them did the cross-examination, really pounced on that.
Mark Agnifilo basically said, I find it hard to believe. And, I was at Diddy's trial for 9 weeks. So I kind of know Mark. I actually talk to him each day.
Oh, interesting.
But he says, I find it hard to believe that he's just going to, I think he said, bloated these words out to you.
Yeah, and we know that Mark Agnifilo has a way in the courtroom. We didn't get to see it, unfortunately, but he has a way about him. So I could see him actually being quite effective in the courtroom. What was the corrections officer's response to that? I do find it odd he didn't write a report or tell his supervisor about this. Like there was no report or anything, because that's odd.
Yeah, he looked like somebody that was caught in a tough jam, as though he didn't believe his own words.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mark comes across real nice at times, but when he's on you, he's on you.
Yeah,
so he
I
was
think
putting
that's
the
his
screws to the
shtick.
guy.
Yeah, I think that's his shtick. Like he comes off as like kind of like unassuming, like but then like he's gonna pounce. So here's some of the cash they found in Luigi's backpack, allegedly. I guess we don't really have to say allegedly. They're trying to get it thrown out. It was his backpack. But here's some of the cash, like the US currency, and then we've got the foreign currency, because he did travel overseas quite a bit. So and then he's got his little little purse there, like little wallet pouch thing that was decorative. Also, Mel, there's his laptop. Remember they said he wrote something to the effect of, hey, to the FBI, I respect what you guys do. My tech is pretty locked down. Who knows if they've even gotten into this computer yet? And when they did get in there, if they did get in there, I'm assuming they got in there. I don't know what they found. Has there been any discussion about what they found in the computer or on the computer?
So far, no.
Okay. And then they found, he's got a watch, he's got some coins. There's this little COVID mask he was wearing. They said something about a USB necklace. Do you know anything about the USB necklace?
Yeah, while he was at the McDonald's, no, actually, when he went to the jail, one of the first things they had him remove It almost looked like a dog chain. It wasn't a real fancy necklace, and it had
Mhm.
a USB attached to it.
Interesting. Did they say
It
what
was
was on the USB at all?
not yet. They haven't revealed.
And then, that's just another picture of his kind of wallet and the, little that kind of almost looks like something he had in Hawaii with a little sea turtle on it or something because he spent some time in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Um, so he wasn't feeling well. Like, did you make it all the way down to the courthouse on Friday? And then they said, "Oh, he's not feeling well. We can't have court today."
Yeah, everybody came into court. In this particular case, they always bring in the judge and then they bring in Luigi. So the judge came, took his seat, they called for order, and then the judge says, "Well, we won't have court today because I understand that the defendant is sick. So I'll see you back Monday at 9:30 a.m."
Okay, so court continues on Monday. Do you know what we're expecting on Monday?
The same thing we were expecting on Friday. They have to continue with the officer. His name is Fox because throughout the week they question, direct, and cross-examine Detwilder, and I believe Fry, and now it's Fox, and I think her name is Wasser. So on Monday we'll see Fox and Wasser, get examined.
I think it's going to be very difficult this is my opinion. Because of the circumstances under which this evidence was discovered, because they are showing up and they think, "Oh my God, this may be the guy." And I guess they said his hands were shaking. Um,
His fingers did not start shaking until about 15 minutes in when they
oh, okay.
started asking the tough questions. But when the call came in, Officer Detwilder, he basically was like 10-4, but he was sarcastic because they didn't believe it would be the actual New York shooter that the dispatchers stated.
Didn't his boss tell him he'd buy him a hoagie or something?
He said, "Listen," he says, "if this is the New York shooter, I'll treat you to a hoagie."
Did people in the courtroom laugh at all, or were they just it was too
Yeah.
serious? Or
Yeah, they laughed about it. There were some other times they laughed more, but they did laugh about it.
what did they laugh about? I mean, because there's really nothing. I mean, you got to have some moments of comic relief, like in a
Right.
case this heavy. But what are some other moments where people laughed?
Well, the police officer, the main one, Detwilder, was lying a lot. And so
Really?
under cross-examination, when Karen Agnifilo, who I know and I like, I actually met her from Diddy's trial.
Uh-huh.
Um, he consistently lied. The main officer, Detwilder, he was lying 6 times on record. She cross-examined him about each one. There's a time when they're trying to figure out if this is the shooter, and Luigi's eating a steak breakfast sandwich. And so the officer says to Luigi, "Is that a steak?" And Luigi says, "Yeah." The officer says, "Steak is my favorite." And so under cross-examination, Karen Agnifilo says, when you told Luigi that the steak is your favorite, were you lying about that too? So everybody laughed about that.
So how did what did she catch him in lies because stuff was on body camera footage and he was contradicted? Like, was he saying things that were
So
different than on
yeah,
the body cam or?
let me explain. So when they approach Luigi, he's sitting in the corner and they kind of block him. So that's how this whole thing is about, how they're holding him against his will. The defenses really did a good job with that. But up
Like that he was
how
in custody and couldn't leave.
yes, and then they waited 20 minutes to actually, read him his rights, right?
Mhm.
But they tell him, because Luigi wants to know, like, what's this about? They say, "Well, McDonald's is saying that you've been sitting here too long." So Luigi reaches down and he grabs his receipt and he shows that he arrived 40 minutes ago. So then the same officer lies to him again, says, "Hey, this is the 6th time we've been called here in the last week because people are loitering in the dining area." That's a lie. And so then they say, when they're
They said
waiting
that
for,
on the body camera?
yeah, we see it all on the body cam. All day this week, we've been watching body cam all day long. that's going through it over and over again with each officer. Okay. And so then another time he tells Luigi, oh my goodness, we have to go to another call. I wish Blair County dispatcher would respond. He's lying about that. He lies 6 times.
So they're okay. Well, the cops are allowed to lie to suspects. People don't like it, but the US Supreme Court says they can do it. But you're saying, because I thought you meant like he was lying on the stand. You're saying he was lying on the body camera footage.
On the
like,
body camera footage, yes.
Clearly, this Detweiler on the body camera footage is lying to Luigi. And was it did Karen say to him or question him and say, why were you saying that?
He said, I was just trying to make him feel comfortable every time she would ask him. And when she cross-examined the second officer, which I know you're going to get to, then he explains the whole why it's okay for police officers to lie.
Okay. Let's watch the 911 call real quick. Do you have time for that, Mel?
Yes.
Okay. Let's listen to the 911 call, everybody, because the 911 call is pretty interesting. So let's listen to that. I'm taking a New York Post copy of this and putting that up on the screen. Why is it not working? It will work in a second, I promise, guys. What did I do wrong? Here we go. Oh, there it is. I was like, wait, where did it go? It's right there. All right, let's listen to this. So guys, this is the 911 call where, and I, listening to this the other night, I was like, wow, super interesting.
911, what is the address of your emergency? It's not really an emergency. I'm a manager at Plank Road McDonald's out here on the Boulevard. Okay. And I have a customer here that some other customers were suspicious of that he. Okay. Is this individual still there? Yes, he's still in the back of our lobby by the bathroom. Okay. And I believe he's wearing, let me run back to my security camera. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm trying to sit out and do like individual calm days with my managers, and like 6 customers walk up to me, and I was like, okay guys, I was like, I can't really do anything, but he's wearing a black sweater jacket with a medical mask and a tan khaki colored like beanie. Okay, you said a black jacket? A tan beanie. Okay. And like the blue medical mask. Okay. So this is the one that they thought that shot the police officer? Or shot the CEO. He shot the CEO. Okay, I got you. Yeah. I got you. White male? Yeah. Well, he has his beanie pulled down, so the only thing you can see is his eyebrows, because I tried to Google it to try to calm them down a little bit. And I'm like, guys, it's kind of hard to tell with his eyes and his eyebrows. I was like, I don't know what to do here, guys. No, you're fine. You're fine. And then I tried to call the non-emergency number and just kept ringing. So I was like, yeah, they don't always answer that. If they're on another line, they won't answer it. How about like height and weight and stuff? Is he taller? Sitting down. Okay. So when I was trying to like look into it, he's kind of like mid-height. And my registered lady, when I was like trying to be non-discreet about it, she's like frantic, and she's an older lady, and she's like, I just don't feel comfortable.
Oh my heavens.
I was like, I
I hope she's wrong, but it does happen, sadly enough. All right. How about weight? Does he look like he's heavy, thin?
He's wearing a big, thick hoodie, so I did. So he kind of just looks like mid-weight.
Okay.
But like with the hoodie on, it makes him look heavier because it's obviously cold.
Okay. Does he have a vehicle description, honey?
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay.
I'm sitting in the opposite corner of my lobby trying to sit down with my managers to have like one-on-one time with them.
Yes.
And everybody's just like running up to me. And I'm like, okay, guys. But it looks like he has either a CVS or a Walgreens bag in front of him. Yes. I'll make all the bagels. Taking 4 bagels. One of them's no butter. Let's go.
All right, honey. I do have an officer on the way for you. Just keep an eye on him. If he leaves, just give us a call back and let us know, okay?
Alrighty, will do.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
I mean, I think the 911 call is pretty interesting. We had some questions in the chat. Luigi was people are asking what he was holding in his hand. That was a hash brown. Okay. First of all, Luigi's a big McDonald's fan. Like if you went on his Instagram and stuff after he got arrested, he was like holding a Happy Meal in one picture. He really likes McDonald's, but he was holding a hash brown, and those quiet pauses in the, that was not a glitch or anything. Those were redactions. They don't want that poor McDonald's manager, her name flying around out there. So they redacted her name. They probably redacted some other personal information. So that was pretty interesting, I thought. Mel, what did you think when that 911 call played? Because it's like literally this manager at McDonald's, like she kind of doesn't believe it. She's not sure she believes it either. She's like, but she said, all I can see is his eyebrows, which the eyebrows are very distinctive.
Yeah, it was great to hear how this all started, so a lot of people were responding to it.
Yeah. So tell me, if you would, you said the second officer then kind of went, because the state's going to put on a case and say, look, this evidence should come in. That's their whole point. They're putting these cops on the stand. They're going to put everybody up to show why this evidence should come in. So you're saying the second cop who testified went into the information and the detail about how they can lie to a suspect.
Right, because he kept trying to hold back information when they were cross-examining him. But basically, he explained that, because she was asking him, when you went to Indiana for 6 months for your training to become a police officer, did they tell you it's okay to lie? He said yes. And she said this, I'm talking about Karen Agnifilo. She says, they also teach you could create a ruse. And he says yes. So a lot of people were shocked because that's not everyday knowledge.
Yeah, most people don't know that. I mean, so when I'm sure maybe there are people who don't go to court a lot or don't cover trials. They don't know that there is case law from the U.S. Supreme Court that says the police can lie to suspects. Did either one of these cops say, hey, the second I went up to the guy in the beanie and the mask, and he pulled his mask down, or I saw the eyebrows, or like I kind of thought, oh my God, it's him? Or did either one of them say that?
So far, all of them have said it was 100% the New York shooter. when they saw when he pulled down his mask.
So what was the need for all the stalling then? Just to get him comfortable to try to say something, or like, why didn't they just say, hey, are they saying like, oh, you've been here too long and that's why we're here? Not because they didn't want to come out and confront him right away and be like, hey, we got a call that you look like the guy that shot the CEO in New York.
Well, at first they were waiting on the lieutenant that offered the hoagie. So he stepped away to go
They
call
wanted
that
their
lieutenant.
hoagie.
Yeah, so he went outside, he called the lieutenant. You could see that he's very nervous. Hey, this is the guy. We got the guy, and everybody's so excited. But then 13 officers came. So they were basically turning this into a fanfare of some sort. And the cross-examination with Karen Agnifilo, she pointed that out. Why did you need so many officers? In fact, she asked, how many officers did you have working that morning? Was it less than 30? He said, yes. She said, so if you had less than 30 officers working throughout this small town and you had 13 of those officers standing around Luigi, so it made him look bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they needed to do a big it's one guy, right? All they had to do was frisk him and take him into custody.
Right.
I don't
Luigi,
think, go ahead.
Luigi said, are you waiting for more officers? He was like, I have on layers. I'm not that big of a guy. So, why are you bringing in all these officers? So he was asking questions.
Interesting. What did he, so this is all on body cam, even the one cop, going out to call Lieutenant Hoagie. Yeah, we got him. Like, that's all on body cam.
Yes. And the main officer cut off his body cam at least 3 times. So they really cross-examined him or Karen really put the screws to him about that.
What was his reasoning for that? What was his explanation?
He remembered everything except what he was talking about. So again, you had the whole hoagie deal. It was moments when he was talking to the officers, you could tell they were kind of friends. But at one point, for the female officer, Wasser, who's going to be there on Monday, she had called in previously early because she heard it over the radio that they perhaps had the New York shooter. Mm-hmm. So when she came to McDonald's, she saw that the lead officer, Detwilder, had his body cam on. She started to say something. She looked down. She saw it was on. And then she refrained from talking. And then he immediately cut off his body cam. And Karen Agnifilo really said, why would you do that? What was it that you didn't want us to hear? So big deal.
Interesting. What did he say he didn't want them to hear?
He said, we could have been talking about anything. I don't know what we were talking about.
Then there's no reason to cut off the body cam.
Yeah. So not a good look.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. So who in your view, who is winning so far? I mean, I know we're only 4 days into this and there are several more, days of testimony to go. And what do you think of like how it's going? I guess, who do you think's winning so far?
I think the defense is winning so far. They've made a great argument as far as why these items should not be included.
Interesting. So is the judge giving any reaction?
The judge has started off mostly in favor, I believe, of the prosecutors, but as of Thursday, he was, starting to, you could tell he was weighing in on the defense side a little more.
Really? And how are you seeing that? Or what are you seeing?
I often tell people that the prosecutor in this particular case is like Columbo. He has that type of presence, a lot of years, older fella. And so every time they would object to something, the judge would always go with the prosecutors and, the ruling. But on Thursday, I started to see him go a certain measure in the direction of the defense.
Does the prosecutor look nervous at all?
No, he doesn't seem nervous, but he seems like a very arrogant guy who pretty much knows what he's doing.
Interesting. Well, I'll be interested to see how it all pans out. People were asking in the chat too if this is going to be live streamed, the trial, and no, it's not,
No.
because it's New York. But let's say this evidence is suppressed. There is no trial because I don't know what evidence they have without the backpack other than believing that he's the guy. Like
Right.
seeing him and okay, he looks like the guy in the photos. I mean, if you don't have the backpack, what do you have?
They
Unless
say
you have
there's
his
a water.
fingerprints on the bullets,
There's DNA from a water bottle, I believe, from Starbucks.
True.
So there's other things floating around. Also, they charged him with a lot. He had a lot of charges in Pennsylvania, so he'll eventually have to face the music there. And he also has the federal case in New York where he's facing the death penalty.
Right. But so they've got the DNA on the water bottle, but the shell casings, is there any physical evidence or is there any evidence linking Luigi to the shell casings?
I don't believe so. The only thing they mentioned about the shell casings were the words written on the,
Yeah. I mean, it's like if his DNA is on the shell casings, that would be interesting, right? Or, but we don't know. But it becomes a much more difficult case for the prosecution if this evidence is suppressed.
Yes, correct.
Because then they don't have the ghost gun. They don't have the journal. They don't have the claim of responsibility. I don't know what they do because a lot of times, a judge will say, well, you thought this was the guy and he could be dangerous, and they will give you some leeway because you had to start looking through the bag,
Right.
To see what was in there. So I don't know. It's hard for me to judge for myself without seeing this body camera footage.
Well, let me tell you, when it came to his bag, Karen Agnifilo really did a good job because they're trying to say, well, we thought it was a bomb in the bag or what have you. But she showed throughout the video where they weren't concerned about this book bag. In fact, the bag was on the floor by Luigi. When the lieutenant came, then all of a sudden, the officers, they didn't want to get in trouble, it appeared. So they went and stood in front of the bag. Then they moved the bag, but they were not concerned about it. And if they thought it had a bomb in it, they really didn't show it. And she really built that out in her cross-examination.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Wow. Well, I will be interested to see how it all pans out. How many more days is this expected to go?
There's somewhere between 20 to 30 witnesses. We've only cleared maybe 7.
Wow.
So probably another 2 weeks, I'll be going down in the cold weather.
Wow. Mel, you are in it for the long haul.
Yes.
Well, we hope you'll come back and talk to us again. Will you be willing to do that, to fill us in on what else happens?
Anytime you need me, I'll gladly come over.
Well, we love having you. You're so great, Mel. Thank you so much for coming on and spending part of your Saturday night. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Take care.
That's Mel, guys. We have
Watching the world.
Yes, Mel, Watching the World. We put a link to your stuff in the chat, so everybody check out Mel. Thank you, Mel.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so that was my good pal Mel. He's a really good guy. He did a great job covering the Sean Combs trial earlier this year and really hit the nail on the head with a lot of his takes and what he was observing in the courtroom, because he can go to the courtroom. We don't know what's going on in the courtroom because there are no cameras. No cameras in Luigi, no cameras in Sean Combs. So there you have it. So we'll bring Mel back on maybe next week too to hear more of what's been going on. Typically though, in a situation such as this one, and it's hard because guys, we can't see the body camera footage. The judge is sealing that because he believes it could be prejudicial. In a situation such as this, the judge may say, well, look, this is somebody who is wanted for a heinous crime. Of course, they had to open that backpack and start poking through it. The cops in New York probably, it's not like they didn't get a warrant and start looking through it. So before they started looking through it, but the cops in Pennsylvania, of course, had to start looking through it to see what was in there. So, we'll see what happens. Many times in a situation like this, the judge is going to say, look, you had these cops showing up to the scene. They think you've got somebody accused of basically an execution on the streets of Manhattan. Of course, you're going to open up the bag and look at it, look to see what's in there. But we just need to see more about the paperwork for the motion to suppress, the warrant accompanying the search of the bag, and things of that nature. That whole ghost gun thing, though, crazy. Apparently, that's not so hard to build. So I'll just put up a little bit more of, let's look at a little bit more of what they found in there. This is some of the evidence they found. U.S. currency. He also had those fake IDs. Here's some of the U.S. currency along with the foreign currency. Of course, he had his Apple laptop. Here are some of the other items. Of course, his COVID mask, watch, Sharpie, whatever that squiggly black thing is. It almost looks like a shoelace. And then, of course, I'm just going to call it the sea turtle purse. It's like a sea turtle wallet. And then this little black thing that looks like almost like a money clip or something, I guess. I'm not really sure. But, Luigi is accused of something really heinous, and he threw his whole life away. For what? It's just really awful. What he's accused of doing. He is somebody who could have changed. He could have worked and pushed for change with his background, his connections, his family connections. And, according to what's been found in his backpack, he wanted to do things another way. And I'm not really sure why. Let's look at the victim in this case, because he is somebody who has not gotten a lot of attention, and that is Bryan Thompson. You hear all about Luigi. And Bryan Thompson was apparently, trying to do some good things in the healthcare, apparently trying to do some things to make positive change in the healthcare industry. This is a video from the Des Moines Register from a few years back. So, this is where he's talking about some changes in healthcare and things of that nature. And I'll just put this up on the screen so you can watch a little bit of it. Just to see a little bit of Bryan Thompson. He was born in Iowa in a small town, and then, went to college, worked his way up and became the CEO of United Healthcare before he was murdered. He was a husband and a father.
Hi, I'm Bryan Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare, and welcome to the attendees of Reuters Total Health. Our mission and values are focused on helping people live healthier lives and making the health system work better for everyone. I'm joining you from our Innovation Center here in our headquarters in Minneapolis. Data is at the core of our agenda to improve healthcare, which directly influences how we develop innovative consumer solutions. Behind me, you can see data from our call center operation of health-related activity occurs outside of the exam room. It's also what's happening at home. But ultimately,
so this is like a video he was doing about improvements they were trying to make in, their technology and things of that nature.
Improve the consumer experience as they engage with the health system overall. Research and decisioning, like other industries, people didn't have the tools and resources they needed to be good consumers. So supporting healthcare workers with tools that help them focus on practicing medicine, not red tape. We want the system to work better for everyone. Real consumerism has to occur in real time, seamlessly integrated into their electronic medical record and their provider workflow. That's what we're doing with the data and technology-enabled capability to make good decisions for the patient in real time. with point of care assist, and where the providers can streamline the prior authorization process to help reduce delays, bureaucracy, and claim denials.
So he was talking about things they were doing to streamline the processes and, reduce delays with denials and things of that nature. Just very interesting to me, given the fact of what Luigi wrote on those shell casings, about the deny, delay, depose, that whole thing. And then talking about wanting to allegedly in his journal kill the healthcare CEO to kind of make a big splash because healthcare was the target, health insurance rather was the target. And he had a beef with the health insurance industry. He had no connection to United Healthcare. Luigi didn't. He had health insurance through Aetna. So he had no connection. It's just that United Healthcare was the largest health insurance company in the country and one of the largest corporations by market cap. So that is literally, allegedly, why he did this. That is the accusation being made by the prosecution in this case. So he's talking about trying to improve things and make things better. It's just confounding to me. Absolutely confounding. So somebody asked about seeing the currency again. Luigi had traveled to not in the United States, but he had traveled overseas. So look at the currency here. I mean, I don't know what country that is specifically. I'd have to look it up, but this is currency from other countries. He had been to several parts of Asia in the months before this happened, months and months before this happened. So I don't know if it's currency from some part of Asia, but he had been I believe in Thailand and in some other areas of Asia. So there you go. And apparently had some currency, I think, left over. So guys, I'm going to wrap it up here soon, but first, just a little update on Bryan Kohberger. He is being, I guess, what they call a prison Karen. I'm not really big into using the word Karen. I don't love that word. I really don't. I do not like that word. But Bryan Kohberger definitely being a little bit of a prison Karen. His complaints have not stopped. I told you several weeks ago about the complaints over the bananas. Well, guess what? Now he wants out of J Block so bad. I don't know if he wants back in the medical unit where it was like a bigger cell or what, but he wants out of J Block so bad that he's threatening to end it all. He's threatening to end it. That's what he's saying, allegedly to the prison staff. He's like throwing a fit. I don't know why he thinks he's so special. Like, dude, you admitted to killing 4 people. Get over it. Eat your bananas. This is your life now. Like, this is your life. Stop it. Like, somebody needs to just literally say to him, this is you. This is you for the rest of your life. Like, the choices you made put you here. Like, just stop. Like, just stop. What is going on? Like, get over yourself. Like, you are not, your crime is important, not because of you. It's because of the kids. Okay. It's because of these 4 people were interested, not because of you. You were not the interesting one. People could not believe and wanted to know why and who murdered 4 like young, beautiful college students. You're not special. Stop it. Like, literally, you're not special. You are not. Like, this is your life now. You were like younger than 30 years old and you threw it all away. Because for what? Like, just stop. The guy is just a hot mess. A hot mess. a very spoiled brat. He must be a very spoiled brat, like seriously spoiled brat. He's ridiculous. He is absolutely absurd. And he just really, really needs to get over himself. Literally get over yourself, dude. He's not special. He's going to just, you're going to rot. You're going to literally rot for the rest of your life. That is what's going to happen. I want to give a shout out to everybody who tuned in tonight. Plus, thank you so much. Sheila J 2025 gifted a membership. Thank you for doing that. That was very sweet of you. Also, we had a super sticker from Jan S. Price. Thank you so much, Jan. That was super, super sweet. Everybody, you can become a member too. We have a link on the homepage. So just it's like $2.99 a month. If you're up for it, that's great. You get some like emojis and stuff like that. And that's all we're going to have for tonight. Thank you so much to the mods for being here. Thank you for being here, everybody. And thank you, everybody, for watching. If you've been watching on replay, thank you for watching on replay. Also, remember, hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe. Also, remember to let me know where you are watching from, city, state, and country. I always love seeing that. And we will be back sometime soon. I'm not sure when, but I will try to make it sometime one weeknight next week and then on Saturday night next week. So I will do my best to hit you 2 nights next week. So again, everybody have a great rest of your night and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.